Brother, do not dislike video yet, brother. Hear me out. I'm not calling Habib trash. I'm not calling him mid. He's a G, but he's just not that top G. He's not a GSP, John Jones, a Silva, Aldo, Fedor, this and that. There's many other guys who have accomplished much more than Habib. And I understand at the time when he retired, a lot of people were saying he's a top 5 GOAT or top 3 because of recency bias, but it's been some time and I see too many people rank him in the top 5, and it's crazy. Just because he went 29-0 doesn't mean he stomped 29 world-class fighters. If you look at his first 15 wins, they look like build-up fights. You know, when a fighter starts their career, especially a good one, you know, they start building off like their first 5 or 7 fights with like low-level competition. And when you compare Habib's first 15 fights compared to GSP's and Jones, they are nowhere near close. John Jones had to fight Ryan Bader in his first 15, top 5 or top 3 contender. GSP had to fight Matt Hughes, the greatest welterweight champion at the time, with 6 title wins, who was the number 1 contender when fighting GSP for the vacant or interim welterweight championship. And that was GSP's 8th fight. Habib's 8th fight was against a 2-1 guy. So I am more impressed with GSP's and John Jones's 26 wins, way more than Habib's 29 wins. Even Demetrius Johnson's 24 wins is much better than Habib's. Like, look at Johnson. He had to fight up a weight class against the best bantamweight champion at the time and still the greatest bantamweight of all time, Dominic Cruz, while working part-time at a factory. And even when I say this, when I list out the competition, people are like, oh, Habib is in a new era. The competition is much harder, but that's really unfair to all the old generation fighters because these new guys learn off the old fighters. It's not fair. And at the time when they got their wins, it was really impressive. So without these old generation fighters, these new generation fighters would never, ever have evolved or leveled up their game better than the old generation. Even though I think Jones, GSP, and DJ, if they are all in their prime, I think they'll be champions right now in the UFC. But about Habib's competition, yes, it was really good. Poirier, Gaethje, Conor McGregor, RDA, and Edson Barboza, really solid wins. Those are like top tier wins. But, you know, you look at the other guys above him. They have a lot of top wins too. He's not the only one. Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski, Jose Aldo, Kamaru Usman, a bunch of guys. But then the argument would be the undefeated status of Habib. He never lost a fight. Well, honestly, I don't even care if you're undefeated because that just means you haven't fought the right guy. I don't know who quoted that or who made that quote up, but it's true. Losing is inevitable in this sport. There's so many weapons in the game of MMA, and the amount of top competitors that have different unique styles that could ultimately make you lose. Yes, Habib didn't lose, but, you know, back to my other argument, he didn't fight that many guys as much as John Jones and yada yada. But wait, brother. What about Habib's dominance, brother? He mauled all his opponents. He dominated everyone. The invincibility aura around Habib is another big argument on why Habib is the greatest. At first, I was like, yeah, you're right. He just ran through top-level competition. Poirier, Gaethje, Conor McGregor, nothing in their weight. Ali, Quinta, Barboza, RDA, like just blanked them on the cards or just mauled them. But there's a common theme I see in Habib's competition and legacy. I see that their style is all leaning towards striking, except for Ali Quinta. Ali Quinta is more like a balance, so he's like a 50-50 in the striking and grappling. Plus, he wasn't even that good, so he's not even like a top tier win. He's a good win, but not top tier. But when you look at Habib's top tier wins, Poirier striker, Gaethje striker, Conor striker, all of them don't have good gas tanks. RDA is a mix. Same for Barboza, he's a striker, not good gas tank, doesn't like grappling. But RDA is like his hardest stylistic matchup. I know he smashed RDA, but RDA is like a 50-50. Like, his primary goal is to strike with people, and if he can't get that to work, he'll start grappling. He'll grapple the strikers and strike the grapplers. Plus, when we saw his grappling being used against other strikers, it hasn't really worked well for him. So that got me thinking, like, is Habib only looking dominant because he's fighting favorable matchups? Well, the answer is yes and no. Habib is that good, but at the same time, you can see that these top tier wins are all favorable matchups for him. stylistically. I'm not discrediting his skill. I do believe he can still beat like the lightweight grapplers today, like Dariush, Charles, maybe even Islam or all these other guys. I do believe he can like beat them. I'm not saying he doesn't have no chance, but he didn't prove it. Ultimately, in your legacy, you got to prove why you're the greatest. And we just never seen that out of Habib. And when you compare that to everyone else, Kamaru Usman had to fight Colby Covington, a mirror matchup. Imagine if Habib had to fight a mirror matchup of himself. Islam Makhachev. Imagine that fight would be neck and neck. That's a 50-50 fight right there. Even Izzy versus Pereira. A 50-50 matchup right there. A style mirror matchup. Striker versus striker. Usman Covington, grappler versus grappler. Habib, we didn't see that. We didn't see him fight like a Dariush, a Charles Oliveira, Arman Tsarukyan, Islam, Gamrot. There's a lot of guys out there right now. And Habib could have stuck around. He could have stuck around. Right now, he would still be in his prime. So I don't want to hear the excuse that, oh my God, the era is already changed, brother. No, he still could have been here. Not saying he would lose his belt, but I'm just saying that invincibility aura, gone. And we wouldn't be having this argument. Well, we could, because if he beat those guys, then he would have had more names on his resume, which means he will have a much greater legacy. But in the end, the invincibility aura will be gone, and you can't use that to boost his legacy. Because if we're going to be real, many other fighters could have done that. Johnson, Cruz, Jones, many other guys could have done what he'd done. Dominate the guys and just dip early, even though they still have prime fighting years in them. Not saying he made the wrong choice. I think this is the best choice for life because he already made the bag and he promised his mom and he's not going to get damaged anymore. But when we're talking about legacy, leave him out of there. He's outside of the GOAT combo. Never want to hear his name brought up ever again. Please stop. So that is why I think Khabib Nurmagomedov is overrated in terms of legacy. Not saying his skill was trash. Not saying he couldn't have defeated the lightweights today. But I'm just saying he didn't prove it. And he just doesn't have much to say in terms of competition to say like, damn, I should be the greatest because I beat this. I got this many title wins and all that. I have better wins than you, more wins than you. No, please stop talking, brother. Brother, I know you're great, but brother, I must humble you. You don't have many title wins, brother. And your competition, brother, wasn't out of this world, brother. And I never see you, brother, fight Dagestani wrestler, brother. Or fight someone up a weight class, brother. Brother, guys. He didn't even fight up a weight class, too. GSP fought up a weight class. John Jones was about to do it. DJ did it. Like, come on now. His invincibility aura would have been gone if he fought Kamaru Usman. He probably would have taken an L, honestly. Usman got insane power, insane cardio, really great wrestling, bigger, stronger. Yeah, that would have been a really bad stylistic matchup for Habib. But he never challenged himself. He didn't dare to be great, like the great Volkanovski. That's it. Goodbye. I'm done. At lonely nights I'm dreaming about my home, my Dagestan, and I will never stop believing and being proud of my land and all